Welcome to Tantrum Studio D. I'm Kevin Dupp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
Today we're looking at a prototype of Moonshot. Moonshot is a dice rolling betting game for 3 to 5 players, and it plays in about 30 to 60 minutes. Now, this is being published by Fisher Heaton Games, and it should be on Kickstarter this April.
In Moonshot, players take control of a squadron of ships that are competing in the annual Moonshot race. In addition to trying to cross the finish line first, players will also be betting on the outcome of the race. The player with the most points at the end will win.
Let's look at the prototype components. There's the main game mat, ships, cards, dice, and tokens.
At the beginning of the game, each player chooses a faction and can play on the normal side or with asymmetrical powers. You'll take a certain number of ships depending on the number of players. Each game turn begins with the wagering phase. Each player gets to place a bet on one faction. You can't wager on your own faction until turn 6. You're betting on who will have the most ships in storage by the end of the game, which is either after 12 turns or when one player has stored all of their ships.
Then comes the movement phase. In turn order, each player will roll a set of dice and move their ships. The board is a nice chart on how much fuel you receive based on your roll. If you roll 4 or 5 fuel, then you get a bonus roll. You keep rolling until you don't have any more bonus rolls. Then you move your ships. For each fuel token, you can move one ship the full amount of spaces. You can even move the same ship multiple times, but you cannot split your move between 2 ships using only one fuel marker. You must continue on the same path unless you finish your movement on a planet. Then you can change directions to try and get to the end faster.
When you move a ship and end your movement on another ship you own, then your ships link up and move as one for future turns. If you end your movement on another player's ship, you bump that player's ship back to the start. You get a bonus roll, and they get a tactics card.
The tactics cards can really help you. Some are played immediately, like Recycled, that let you draw 2 more cards. Some you play on your turn, like Engineered, that let you split up your movement, or Repaired, that let you reroll dice. There's Play Any Time cards, like Switched, that can switch positions of ships, or Nullified, that can cancel the effect of another card. There's also Play on Their Turns, like Guarded, that protects your ships from getting bumped, or Robbed, that can let you steal someone's bonus roll.
Moonshot also has a wormhole that can make you travel even faster. If you land on one side, you transport to the other. But the wormholes don't always stay in place. Some tactics cards can affect them. And if a player rolls 2 or more red dots, the wormholes will move to a random location. The player reveals the top card of the deck, looks at the number, and moves the wormholes to the corresponding spaces.
There's 2 main ways of getting points in the game. When a ship passes or lands on a planet, the player receives the number of points indicated on the planet. A linked ship with 2 ships would get double the points. Uterra is a little different though. You only get the 7 points when you finish the race by passing Uterra, not landing on it. Basically, you need at least 1 extra fuel movement, and then your ship is placed into storage and you receive 7 points. The other way of getting points is how well you wager on the factions. At the end of the game, points are awarded to the players who bet on the factions that have the most, second most, and third most ships stored. So if blue bet on red in turn 1, and red had the most ships stored, then blue would get 8 points. The payouts are better for bets made earlier in the game.
Moonshot kind of plays with your mind a little bit because you go into it thinking, oh, I want to get my ships to the end. I want to roll really well and finish the race. But actually, you're probably going to get more points by betting on the right ships than just getting your ships in.
Yeah, one game we were playing and no one was betting on Melissa's ships. But all of a sudden, she linked 3 of her ships up and made it all the way to her ship storage. So everyone was clamoring to bet on Melissa's ships.
Right, and unfortunately that kind of happened early in the game, so I couldn't bet on myself. And then when it finally got to round 6 and I could, well, I had the most points because I got 21
points, yeah.
for getting those ships into storage. And so I was betting last in turn order. And obviously any of the slots for my color were already filled.
So
Yeah, I didn't win.
yeah. Even though this is a roll and move game, there's still decisions to make because you can move your ships multiple ways if you roll more than one, and especially if you bump someone's ship, you could get a bonus roll which lets you move another ship, which is really fun. Or you could say, maybe I don't want to bump someone because you're betting on their faction because you want to get their points.
Right. Yeah, like I might want a different friend to go in and not Kevin.
So just a reminder that these are prototype components. The ships were 3D printed, but the graphic design is well laid out and it's easy to understand.
So this game is pretty easy to pick up and learn. It's on the light side. I think people who like a lot of player interaction might like this game because that comes in with the cards and the betting on each other, bumping, and kind of manipulating what happens with each other.
I think kids would like it too.
Yeah, I think it would be good for kids. You do have to know that the tactic cards have text on them, though, so they would need to be able to read those cards to play them or have someone that can help them with that.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a fun space-themed game that has this betting mechanic with some dice rolling, then check out Moonshot on Kickstarter soon. Moonshot is Moonshot